This lesson deals with making probability statements based off of a forecast. So what we have is the actual sales versus the forecasted sales from years 2005 through 2012. And what we have given is that our predicted sales for 2013 are 60. And so I'm sorry, they are 60. So what we want to know is what's the probability that our sales are going to be over 65? So we actually need to pull quite a bit of information here in order to be able to do that. So the first thing that we are going to do is this, we're going to take the average, the actual sales, and we're going to divide that by the forecasted sales. So we've got to do that for each column. So in this first column, which for me is F, or row 5, and we're doing this in column F, we're going to take the cell D5, that's the actual sales for that year, and we're going to divide it by the forecasted sales for that year. When you do that, you should get 0.77. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this formula all the way down. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is calculate our mean. Our mean is calculated off of this column right here, which is the actual sales divided by forecasted sales. So to calculate the mean, we're going to do equals average, and you're going to grab that whole column. And then we get a mean of 91, or 0.918. Okay, now we've got to calculate our unbiased forecast. So we're going to take our forecasted numbers and we're going to multiply each of those by the mean. Now when I hit my mean here, I'm going to make it an absolute value so I can copy and paste my formula easily. Okay, so when you do that, you should get 20.19, and then I'm going to copy and paste that formula down. All right, the last thing I'm going to do in this little table is the percentage error. And so what I'm doing here is I'm calculating how off the unbiased forecast is from the actual sales. So what I'm going to do is start my formulas with an equal, open parentheses, and I'm going to take my actual sales and I'm going to subtract my unbiased forecast. And then I'm going to close parentheses and put the whole thing over my unbiased forecast. So my unbiased forecast ends up being my denominator. So in this case, it's D5 minus G5, and then all of that is over G5. Okay, so you should get negative 16% when you do that. And then again, copy and paste that number all the way down. Now we want to calculate the mean, and this mean is of the percentage error. So again, we do the average and grab this percentage error column. Okay, and this is a really small number. So your book actually has it as 5e to the negative 17. That means, essentially it's 0. If we put these decimals out enough, we would start seeing a number, but it would take a while. Okay, so there you go. So it is a number, it's a really small number, and I'm going to take some of these back away. All right. Now we are going to calculate our standard deviation. To do that, you start with an equals, and you are going to do the standard deviation dot S for this because because it's based on a sample and we want to ignore the logical values and text in the sample. And then we just select this column. There we go. So you should get that 0.11375. All right. Now that we have all that, we want to calculate our mean for the year 2013. To do that, we take our projected sales and we multiply it by basically this mean of the error. Okay, so that's 60 times 0.91, and we get 55.08. So what you've essentially done here is corrected it to reflect your unbiased forecast. So now we've got to calculate our sigma. So what we do, how we calculate our sigma by doing our mean, and we multiply that by the standard deviation. Okay, so you should get 6.26. Now we can calculate our probability. We're going to use this formula right here. We went over norm distributions last week, and so that's what we are using this week as well to do this problem. All right, so your x here is going to be 60. Okay, your mean is this 55.08. Your standard deviation is your sigma, and you do want this to be cumulative. So essentially what you're doing here is, oh, I'm sorry, it's not 60. I did that wrong. We're looking at what's the probability we're going to sell 65, so it's got to be 65. All right. So what we are doing here is this normal distribution is calculating the percentage that, or the chance that we're going to sell 65 or below, or 65 million units or below. And so we are, because we want 65 and above, we are taking the inverse of that, so that's why we have the 1 minus. Now again, we're using 65 because we want above 65. If we wanted to include 65, we would have to do 64, or depending on how specific we wanted to be, 64.9, etc. All right. So this leaves us with a 5.6% chance that we will sell 65 million units or above for this problem. All right, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I hope you have a great day.